Thanks. Well, developing this morning, following former President Trump's acquittal at his second impeachment trial, some senators now urging the lower courts to get involved and try him as a private citizen. Let's bring in former State Senate President Mike Haridopolos to break all this down. Mike, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend.
We did, Ryan. Good morning.
So, shortest impeachment trial in history. Where do we go from here? Some still want to prosecute the former president. Others want to embrace him.
Well, I think more than anything else, people are just glad the whole impeachment mess is over. We have a new president of the United States, and he's going to face a lot of challenges, maybe like never before, with this continuing crisis with the COVID-19 issue. But that said, I'd be surprised if there's any further criminal actions against the former president. I think it's time to move on. If people maybe in some more liberal states like New York choose to do it, that might be the case. But like we've seen in the past, most of these eventually equate to absolutely nothing. But that said, I'm glad to see it's behind us, but you saw some real fractions of both the Republican Party and, of course, around the country with the Democrats.
Yeah, Mike, really both parties have fractures right now. So moving forward, how do you see the president's political future? Could it be through his kids? Could it be him again? How is this going to play out? Because it's going to put a lot of members of Congress in tough spots.
Well, I think without doubt, how heavily will Donald Trump play? He's got hundreds of millions of dollars in his political account. If he wants to get involved in races, clearly he will. There's a lot of people who support him. Of course, 75 million people voted for him for president. But in general, without the mouthpiece of Fox, let alone CNN or other major cable stations or the social networks, it's hard for him to get his voice out unless he pays to get on, like so many other political candidates have to. And so his voice will be muted over time, and I think that will have a large impact, but he is still a major player in the Republican Party. And if Biden finds fault, meaning he's going to have difficulty like we expect, you'll see Trump will look stronger. But should Biden find success, you'll see that the mouthpiece that Donald Trump has will obviously dissipate as well.
Let's finish with this. You talk about challenges ahead for the Biden administration. He's got the stimulus plans moving forward, and then that talk of the Florida travel ban, which Governor DeSantis has fought back fiercely on.
And rightfully so. I mean, Florida is one of the states that's done it right. We've tried to strike that balance between, of course, personal safety as well as liberty. And I think we've done pretty well with it. As I talk with people around the country, they're amazed at how well Florida is doing economically, that you have somewhat of a normal life as long as we practice social distances in large public gatherings. And so I think, if anything, Florida's been the role model. We found out last week just how dreadful New York has been. Not only were they terrible with the virus, but they literally put people in nursing homes with sadly forced their death as well. And so I think you're going to see a lot of problems in both political parties at this point, because you've got Democrats in California being recalled. You have the problem with Cuomo in New York. And of course, Republicans, 7 of them said, you know what, Donald Trump, you're guilty of impeachment charges. And so as usual, the political parties have their own problems. Let's hope that they can come up with a stimulus plan that works for everyone. Maybe not as that big as that $1.9 trillion. My guess is that Joe Manchin from West Virginia, a Democrat, will bring that number down a bit, so there won't be so much aid for states, because in a lot of ways that's kind of a boondoggle.
Yeah, no question, Mike. I think all Americans win if both sides can kind of come to the middle on some of these issues. We'll see if it can happen. It's great insight. Have a great Monday, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks as always, Ryan. Have a great week.
That is former State Senate President Mike Haridopolos. Amy, back to you.
I-16 car crash, an hours-long rain delay, and, of course, that fiery finish.
Yeah, and, of course, the guys from Rockford knew that Michael McDowell was going to win this the whole time. He took the checkered flag. He came in 100-to-1 odds.
You know, it's not been an easy